Following your Hyrox race, you get a ton of data related to your race performance. And in this video, I'm going to go through 5 top tips for how you can make the most of this data to go faster in your next Hyrox race. Use the top link in the video description to grab your race day data. Tip number 1, firstly, the roxzone. It's a bit like the danger zone in Top Gun Maverick. You want to be spending as little time as possible in there.
Good luck, gentlemen. Thank you, sir.
The roxzone is your dwell time between exiting the running track and entering and exiting each exercise station, and it can often catch first timers out. When in the roxzone, try to keep moving at a reasonable pace. You don't need to sprint, but a light jog will keep your dwell time in the roxzone low, often one of the easiest ways to affect your overall race time. Tip number 2, with running comprising 50% of the race, looking at the variations in your 1 kilometer split times throughout the race can be a great way of identifying where and how you can improve your running time. For example, if your 1 kilometer splits vary dramatically and they're on a downward trajectory throughout the race, you may want to focus on improving your endurance through longer running sessions so you're able to maintain a similar 1k split throughout the race. Secondly, another key sign to look out for in the running data is for any standout slower kilometer runs. For example, post-sledge run. This can indicate we'd benefit from practicing more compromised running, which is essentially running after a strength-based exercise. This doesn't need to be a sledge, it could be a squat or a burpee, but importantly, practicing running under pre-fatigue legs. Tip number 3, identify the 1 or 2 stations you know you could have done better, and importantly, that would make the most impact to your overall Hyrox race. And then double down on this or these in your training. To give you an example, looking at my data, I can see the burpee, broad jump, ski erg and sledge push are 3 obvious stations for me to focus on making improvement in my training between races. Fourthly, the sledge push and pull. Examining the race data during and between these 2 stations is important. The sledge push comes in the first quarter of the race, and understanding how this is impacting the rest of your race and your body's ability to recover is important. Look at the 1 kilometer split times between the 2 stations. If this drops significantly, then more compromised running in your training could help. Equally, if there's a disparity between the 2 stations times, this can indicate which of the 2 is worth focusing more of your time on. A sledge isn't something that's available in every gym, and at the end of this video, I'll link to some alternative exercises to build strength for both the sledge push and pull. Fifthly, the ski and row erg. While Hyrox races are rarely won on these 2 stations, they can certainly be lost, and knowing and understanding the right pace for you on these is important. So on the ski erg, aiming for a time that keeps you in the zone but doesn't overly exert you too early is important, and ideally getting on a ski erg and row and playing around in training to find the dampener setting that works for you. The best explanation I've heard of the dampener on both the rear and the ski erg is it essentially sets whether you're climbing 1 small step at a time, so taking more steps to reach the 1,000 meter mark, or if instead you're taking several steps at once with each stroke of the row or skier, and therefore taking a grand total of less steps or strokes to reach the 1,000 meter mark. By playing around with the dampener, you can find the right setting to match your aerobic capacity. If you found this video useful, do check out the other Hyrox related content on the playlist here. Wish you well with your next race. See you in the next one.